Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I was looking at the charts here this morning. Bitcoin has dropped down to around 54,000. And if you've been watching our videos, you would have noted that there's a big gap in the VPVR around 48 to 52,000. Now we just wicked into that area last night. And what we're seeing right now looks like a beautiful fractal to the previous trading range. So here from the spring, the SOS, LPS, SOS, and then see how the LPSs have a similar range. Now, we have not yet finished this LPS, but what does this mean? What does it all mean? Well, price and value are not always easy to tell the difference between one another. So for instance, we've commonly talked about the pineapples over here, something like this. And the thing about a pineapple is it takes like 18 months to grow. So these little things here look like a little cactus. Now it takes 18 months to grow a pineapple. This is a very long period of time. But pineapples only cost like $2. So we start asking ourselves the question between, well, what's the value of something, what's the price of something? We don't come up with a clear answer. In fact, we come up with a very confusing rendition of thought, right? We don't actually know. This is why price fluctuates so dramatically, is that there's no real relationship between the value of something and the price of something. This we make up, right? So there's words like intrinsic that people toss around. The lighting out here is shit right now. Do you guys even care? No, I'm gonna keep talking. This is it. I'm not even gonna edit any of these videos anyways. Welcome to the TO show, where we wax and wane on price politics. Yes, which is in all reality psychology. It is the human nature. This is why when we see irrational price evaluations, it's usually really highlighted by some type of fear in the marketplace. This is why we use fundamental indicators. The fear and greed is a fantastic market indicator. One of the reasons why is because even though we're using all this technical analysis, we're learning things about the Wyckoff trading ranges, what's most valuable is to understand that what we're really measuring is the human psychological nature of things, how we perceive value, and what happens when those moments of irrationality kick in. Like the beginning of the pandemic, March 2020, will be a moment I remember forever because it taught me the wisdom of the old adage, buy when there's blood in the streets. Now, one of the difficult things about borrowed wisdom is I had known that quote for a long time, but I had never really experienced it. In the stock crash of 2001, I wasn't old enough to take advantage of it. In 2008, I wasn't as interested in the markets to take advantage of that. But this time, I was acutely aware of the psychological reaction and the total reevaluation of what prices were to people. They rushed out, they bought toilet paper, they did all sorts of nonsensical things. Now, that's in the fear moment. We've been moving into greed. We're about halfway through this bull market. And because of that, one of the things I want to remind everyone is to be patient with the macro perspective. We are in a very tumultuous time in the world. So they're going to blame these underlying psychological events on things like, oh, there's a new variant. Well, if you look closely enough, you can see some of this stuff coming. It's kind of one of always the interesting hypothesi in this particular market meditation I've enjoyed so much, is that if you look at where we were in the Bitcoin accumulation price, we could tell that we were going to get some type of spring. Now, how deep that irrational or psychological behavior is probably varies moment to moment, but you can almost see the future. But don't mistake it for being able to predict the price. The underlying fundamental value has stayed the same. Bitcoin's going to be worth a bunch. And do you know why? Because governments cross borders, cross cultures, cross languages have destroyed their currencies over and over again. So we can likely bet that that's going to continue to happen. So although we look at the charts and we jump around and look at all these ideas, one of the best things you can do to become a better investor is really spend your time doing something else. Once you've made a good investment and you keep making good investments, the rest of your job is to continue to do whatever you like to do or whatever you want to do. Now, this is one of the fun parts, is because if you happen to really like being here and doing these things like I do, then this is largely about research. Anyways, I know you guys like these kind of outside videos, the long rants. I want to start producing more, so I'm just going to press record and see where we land. So the noise in the news that's going on, it's likely the S&P will form a new trading range. We've talked about that in multiple videos. We've showed you guys the charts for that a bunch as well. And we stand by our thesis that only up is the reality of what we're witnessing right now, because the governments are just going to continue to inflate their currencies, and you're going to see capital escape to every single asset that people find valuable. Land and digital assets, functioning businesses, things that people will continue to use no matter what's going on. So we can rely on the fundamental value of why we want to keep investing, and we can kind of ignore the price. If you learn how to do that, you'll become a better investor. The problem is, what attracts us when we're new to investing is all the noise and the news of the price, because that's where we see the upside potential, and we mistake the deep value of learning how to find the signal. Right? Like, what did you get right about this space when you got it? Like with Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency you're interested in. What things caught your interest, ultimately drove you to do the research, further keep and invest once, and then continue investing? If you can practice that pattern of habitual behavior, it's not focused on price, it's just focused on mostly research, due diligence, having a fun time exploring. You're like, oh, I love video games, of course I'm going to invest in the video game sector. It just only makes sense. Look how fun it is. This isn't like the layer 1 sector. People aren't arguing over the cult of change so much. We just want to play some fun. I want to try Candy Crush again, the new blockchain Candy Crush, whenever it comes out. I tell you what, I'm going to play that game and invest in it. Anyways. Hope you guys enjoyed today's rant. 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Thank you for joining us this long, if you've managed to do that as well. Still kind of like ducking and diving in the world to figure out how we can participate at full scale. But lots of good things. Very stoked to have Michael on the show last week from Quid. They did fantastic. Congrats to everyone in the private group that joined on the IDO for that one. Tryhards was like a 15x off the launch of the IDO there too. Let's see, we've got a few more that we're super interested in. I said them in the past, Decimated, Illumia, but we're early. We try to find signal early. You got to be so patient. You know, technically our CFO, we do got a few more minutes here. Chris, no last name. He helped find Avalanche, and he found it a year before it launched. Knew about it a year before launch. Sometimes you might know about the things a long time before they happen. Patience is so important. Anyways, this is Theo with the Arcane Bear. We're going to see you again on the next episode. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you guys again soon.